I might not be the biggest fan of the way that Xbox is doing things lately, but that doesn't mean that they're not doing anything right or that there's no excitement there. I know things are kind of in this weird kind of spot where people believe that, I absolutely hate Xbox, or they go, why do you trash Xbox on social media, but on your channel, there's a lot of positive Xbox stuff. It's because you can do both, right? Like, I'm going to always question the idea that, Xbox can exist without exclusive games, but it doesn't mean that I can't be excited for A, their software lineup, and B, things that they are actually planning or things that they are doing. So I think that's probably the best way that I can explain it, and people would think it's like hypocrisy or something. It's not, because those two things can exist simultaneously. Like, I think I know a lot of PlayStation fans, and a lot of them are upset with the things that Sony's doing, like going after for games as a service and things like that, and they'll complain about it, but it doesn't mean they hate PlayStation. So it's sort of the same thing for me, the way that I kind of look at these things. And I think that Microsoft does have some very cool things going on, but at the same point in time, it's just like the way that I'm kind of looking at this, I'm just kind of taking it one day at a time, and I'm sure that many of you are as well. And again, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions on all the different moves and things that are getting made in the realm of video games and things like that. So that would be definitely much appreciated to kind of hear how you guys feel about the moves that are being made. But anyway, I want to get into the meat and potatoes of today's video, so let's go ahead and get started. As you guys know, I'm Crap Gamer. This is Crap Gamer Reviews with another video. Thank you so much for checking it out. I certainly appreciate it. Please like, share, subscribe. I would appreciate that as well. I do daily gaming content, so if you guys are looking for that, then hey, look no further. I'm the guy. So anyway, what it basically comes down to is this. A lot of people are talking about like the next generation stuff. Yeah, Les, guess what? I get it. We're still multiple years away from anything like that. But look, Microsoft is packing it in. They're not really too worried about it from all kind of intents and purposes. It looks like they are not really doing much in terms of making sure that this console is going to really like be here to last or anything like that. Again, from what we've seen, from what I've spoken to people who are managers at like GameStop and stuff like that I'm friends with, and it's just like one of those things where it doesn't look like they're shipping a lot of consoles, so it's not so much as them doing one thing or the other. It's just they're not really seemingly shipping a lot of consoles and things like that. They've kind of given up. They're just going to kind of take their wounds and kind of move on from it. But anyway, it doesn't mean that next generation isn't going to come around. Like, my hope is that they come out with, swinging with a powerful console that can kick ass, right? And now, according to this, Xbox is seemingly hard at work on backwards compatibility for the next Xbox consoles. And we'll see what happens there. Backwards compatibility has been a massive part of the Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S eras, and we've already heard from the likes of Microsoft Gaming CEO Phil Spencer on how it's going to remain a key part of the brand moving forward. However, it may need to change along the way, as Xbox is obviously embarking on some new strategies on where every device is essentially considered, quote-unquote, an Xbox. And with rumors planned around an Xbox handheld alongside a new console in 2027. We're assuming one of the goals is to try and make console games playable on as many systems as possible. Windows Central's talked about this a little bit on a report on Xbox and Steam integration the other day, mentioning that the next mainline Xbox consoles are expected to make Windows 32 the preferred Windows development environment, with Microsoft working hard to initiate and integrate Xbox and Windows game development more closely in the future, which, by the way, that doesn't mean Steam. I fully think that they're not going to do anything Steam related. I think that would be crazy. If you guys don't know, just real quick, how this kind of works. We get consoles like the Series X probably would have cost $800 if they didn't subsidize it to us, meaning they sell these things at a loss because they know that we're going to buy, we're going to pay to be able to play online, we're going to pay for Game Pass, we're going to buy our games off their store, we're going to buy microtransactions off their store, and so they make the money back, right? And then some. If you're having a third-party store on there, they get nothing from that unless it's a first-party sale, which they get even less from than they do on their own store. So they only get 70% on a Steam sale store as opposed to 100% of their own games on their own store. So hopefully you guys see where I'm coming from. That would mean that they can't subsidize the price of the console and we just get like these expensive ass consoles. It doesn't make sense, right? Not only that, but to have third-party stores that you could just install I mean, you would have to have like a complete operating system that's really kind of bloated with things that you don't need, whereas consoles don't have to have any of that stuff because they just play games. So anyway, where it leaves the existing library of Xbox Series X and S games remains to be seen, but it seems emulation is one avenue Microsoft is exploring for backwards compatibility and game preservation. It will allow those games to run on Windows devices like the rumored Xbox, the handheld, and the ROG Ally, or any average gaming PC, though it's hard to say because there are some legal hurdles contractually about exactly what Microsoft is allowed to do with third-party titles in its stores. It appears that Xbox is working hard on backwards compatibility for the next Xbox consoles as we speak. Last year, it was revealed that Xbox President Sarah Bond started a new game preservation team that was set up internally, and Windows Central Jez Gordon has advised that it's focused on compatibility for future Xbox devices right now. Somebody said how Sarah's team's work going, and he said compatibility for the existing library on future systems. Now, the handheld is going to be a particularly interesting case, as a lot of people have heard from Xbox fans how they're not massively interested in a device that can't play console games natively. Xbox Play Anywhere will fill in some of the gaps for the time being with the thousands supported titles, but a lot of people are holding out hope for a native console support eventually. Whatever ends up happening, it's going to be interesting to see how Microsoft remains committed to backwards compatibility. I mean, obviously, any of the things that come out have to have backwards compatibility if you're going to release a console or whatever the case may be. Again, like I do think we're in sort of a weird situation with this because, Microsoft is going to have to kind of change how they do things. And, again, I do find it to be a very strange situation because, Microsoft is not going to do things it doesn't deem necessary for, themselves. They obviously want to make a lot of money and things like that. So we'll have to see if that's something that they'll be able to continue to kind of work on and things like that. For me anyway, like I said, I don't look at a lot of this stuff and say, hey, I think that's good or bad or this or that or the other thing. Like, obviously, if you're going to buy the next Xbox, yeah, it's better have backwards compatibility. Now, the things that I would say is going to be a weird thing is they sold people this generation, previous generation, that a lot of people bought disk drive, console with a disk drive. In fact, Xbox One era was pretty much all disk drive. They had one console that didn't have that, and everything else did have it. So you have people with presumably millions of copies of games that might not be playable because of a lack of a disk drive. So we'll see if that's something that kind of happens or not. For me anyway, I look at it and I said, hey, how is this going to kind of change what they're doing, and how is this going to be able to kind of do anything that kind of makes Xbox worthwhile. That's something that I really think has to kind of change how we kind of handle things, from my point of view anyway. I think Microsoft really has to kind of think about the gamers for a change, and is that going to be something that they're going to be able to do? I don't really know, because they do seem to be a lot less focused on the actual console themselves these days. But the fact that they are kind of zoned in on this, I think makes a lot of sense. And it's something that I think gamers can kind of expect for the time being anyway. So we'll see if this is something that they can work out, if it's something that gamers can kind of come together and agree on, hey, what do you want to see? That's something that I would love to see. You know what I mean? I would love to see Microsoft actually pay attention to what fans want for a change, instead of just kind of dictating what they want. That to me makes the most sense anyway. But I'm sure you guys might possibly have a different take than that. But it is nice to see that they're going all in, saying, hey, okay, well, we got to have this, and this. It's going to be very, very interesting times to see how Microsoft deals with the situation with the backwards compatibility stuff, and how their strategy just overall is going to change, being that they seem to be more focused on kind of this hybrid situation. So, again, anything can happen. We'll see how this goes, and we'll see if it's something that Microsoft can come back from. Like I said, it's on them. It's not really on us. Like I would love to continue to support Xbox, but it really kind of depends on what they want to do and how they handle things more so than myself. So with that being said, let me know what you guys think. Rack 'em up. Crap Gamer out.